Why do you not keep going?
G'day everyone and welcome back to the Gold Coast Titans Frontline Podcast. My name is Dane from Clarkey's Rugby League column and I'm joined every week by my co-host Blaze from BKRsport. To everyone here on YouTube and to everyone listening as a podcast, we want to send a warm welcome and say thank you very much for coming back for what I believe is our 10th show. But that's enough from me, Blaze. How are you going, mate?
Yeah, look, I'm going all right. I'm quite run down. It's been a pretty hectic last couple of weeks, and obviously if you guys were at the Warriors game, it felt like we were in Auckland. It did feel like we were at Mount Smart there. It was I've been to many a game in the 16-year history of the Gold Coast Titans. You guys know me. I'm always on my drums, doing my best to create chance and get crazy in an atmosphere, but that one was impossible. That was the largest crowd for an opposition that I have ever seen. And obviously, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but obviously that's going to come when you're going up against a team like which brings together an entire country. They're going well right now. And yeah, look, it was a tough one, man. So I've got a really tough voice at the moment. The voice is definitely gone, very run down, but we keep cracking on, man, and very proud of our boys' performance.
Yeah, we will be here every single week unless of emergencies or otherwise. To everyone from the Gold Coast Titans Fan Club Facebook group, welcome to you. I've put 2 videos in there now, and we've got more and more people coming up to Blaze at Titans games and saying they enjoy the podcast. So we can't send enough love to our viewers. We really appreciate you being here. And let's jump straight into our Titans news segment. First one, AJ Brimson reports suggested he would be out for the year, Blaze. He is now aiming for around 25 return. For yourself personally, do you think Brimo should just pull the pin for the rest of the year, or you hope we can get him back for the last few games?
It's a really tough one because, look, let's be honest with everybody here. We're not going to beat around the bush a great deal. Our season at this point, we're not looking to make the finals. We're not looking towards it. Like, obviously, there is, you know what? I'll give my percentage, as I've done every single week. I'd say there's probably about a 3% chance now that we make the finals. It's pretty much done. So, that's why, as we'll talk about in a second with some of Verrills and whatnot, we don't necessarily need a lot of these boys to keep on cracking on through injury. And with Brimo, he was originally out for the season. They're thinking about bringing him back for the Panthers game. I think that if it is a niggling injury that he needs to get done, it's a great time right now where we do have JC, who can play fullback and is electric at the fullback. And, we were originally going to be seeing Brimo go to the centre on the weekend, and then he had to pull out late. I think that if it is really getting at him, and I think if it is a lot deeper than, we're all aware, you know what, take the last couple of games off. We've only got 4 games to go, especially this one, the Sharks game. Then we've got Panthers, tough game, Storm, tough game, and then the Doggies, really gritty game. So, yeah, look, I think that Brimo, it's up to the club and up to him, but I'd say that from my perspective, maybe it's best to join Sammy Verrills and get it done now.
Yeah, I absolutely echo that. Ultimately, it depends how Brimson feels. If he's feeling ready to play, we want to have Brimson there. And that's something I want to address straight off the top. I was watching with a bunch of fans this weekend, and when Brimson was ruled, fans of Rugby League, of course, not just the Titans, but when Brimson was ruled out, people started saying to me, oh, this is good for the Titans. And I thought, no, it's not. Can we stop disrespecting Brimson? Our captain for that game being ruled out is not a good thing at all. So Brimo, I think if he is able to play out these last few games, I'd like to see him trial a little bit in the centres to give us a bit more of an idea for next year. But if not, if Brimo needs to rest up for the rest of the year, then so be it. You mentioned Sam Verrills. Let's go to that. He has been ruled out for the rest of this year. He will undergo minor shoulder surgery. I want to say, I've got 2 questions here. First one, the replacements. I think Chris Randall and Cruz loom as the most likely for the rest of this year in tandem there. Is there anyone else you want to see tried in that hooker position for now?
Not really, man. Like, obviously, Cruz is on his way to England again, to the Super League at the end of the year. So, obviously, this is a bit of his, swan song before he heads off there. Chris Randall obviously comes into that number 9 position. That's pretty obvious. He actually was originally signed to come into the hooker if Sam Verrills was down injured, and he unfortunately has been injured throughout this season quite a bit. Chrissy Randall will get that 9. Obviously, in an ideal world, we'd have somebody there that we do have going into the future that we can bring into that position. But it's just kind of not really at our luxury right now. We do have these 2 guys. They're going to have to work with the tandem. And, Chrissy Randall get, more a starting gig for the club for the rest of the season, realistically, because I don't see a starting Cruz, even though I do think Randall off the bench is really the play with how versatile that he is. But no, look, it is what it is. I would love to have somebody who was going into the future that could really come in off the bench. No hate to Cruz leaving there at all, just obviously looking towards the future. But yeah, that would be our two.
Absolutely, and I think Cruz would understand that as well. If we did have a young gun there, it makes sense to develop him over Leeming, who has been surprisingly really good in Queensland Cup. Sometimes players sign with the next club and, can kind of slack off towards the end of their current deal. But to Cruz's credit, he's certainly not done that. Looking through our roster, really the only other person that can fill 9 if required is Aaron Clark. I think we've seen that. I think we know he's a lock, so I like the tandem duo there. And final bit of news, Taliah Fuimaono has met with specialists and could play again this year, which is really, really positive for our NRLW side. Our current halves are doing a great deal, but when we talk an Australian rep player like Fuimaono, it's going to be so important. I really hope we can get her back for the finals. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, with Taliah, it's been all over the shop a little bit, actually, because we originally thought she was going to be out for quite some time, and then there was reports saying that she was going to be playing potentially last week, and then that didn't happen, and then the Sharks game, and that didn't happen, and now it's looking like it could be a little bit longer still. So, yeah, really not too sure what's going on there, but I definitely want to see her back. I think that the talent and the quality that she brought to this club was really exciting, and I absolutely can see her being a big part to play in us going on to potentially win the premiership this year, whilst we're 3-3 right now. So, we did have a couple of our best players out, and yet the fact of the matter is that you bring her back in and we're going to be even better. So, yeah, look, I would love to see her back as soon as possible, but obviously she does have that injury around her right now.
Spot on there. I can't wait to have Taliah back either. And, you just think if this side is able to get into the finals and Taliah is able to return for us, the boost that gives our side mentally and by having her out there physically is just huge. And that seems a good point to jump into our NRLW review. So it was round 3 and we defeated the Sharks 10-8 down there in Sydney. I thought this was a great contest. I really did. I thought it was two sides that were up for it. And it was really not the game I was expecting. I probably thought we would run over them, if I'm being absolutely
honest. You had them 13+. You had your women's game, Titans women's 13+.
Certainly, I thought a 13+ prediction. And it is tough to get a read on a lot of NRLW sides this year with new ones in the competition and the existing talent being spread across 4 new clubs. But I've still got to give full credit to the Sharks. They were without Jada Taylor. Andy Robinson went to fullback for them and did a remarkable job. And they did put in a lot of effort. But you know what, Blaze? Our girls matched it and more. And I thought it was really similar winning conditions to how we beat the Broncos in the previous round. Your thoughts on the game and how did you see it?
Yeah, look, I was really appreciative of this one because, look, we were down 8-0 at half-time and we were able to come back in the second half to, go against what we've done in the men's game quite a bit this year is at losing those second halves. This one, we were able to come back in the second half and keep our 3-3 record. We have not lost a game so far and we played 2 good teams. The Broncos are a good team. The Sharkies, they were one of the hot shots coming into the comp this year that people were saying, they have a really good shout of winning the comp. And before this game, they were still, higher favourites to win the comp over us. So, besides the Cowboys, who was their first game in the competition, same with Sharks, but theirs has been a lot more developed over the years outside of the NRLW. They were originally the ones who wanted the NRLW, but just didn't get a shot, and the Dragons got a spot. But yeah, look, I think that we've really been tested against 2 quality teams. Obviously, we're really looking to play the Knights and really looking to play the Roosters to see where we absolutely come up against the big dogs. But yeah, to come back from 8-0 down, we really put in a good shift. Obviously, the Broncos versus Cowboys game was on in the men's, a big game there. I did have to stream that, but I did have our game on the right-hand side. And man, I went crazy when we scored the winner. And I think it was the last minute of the game. So yeah, really happy for our women's side right now. They are absolutely killing it, and we have a big game this weekend against the Knights, so we're going to be able to see, like I just said, where we do really, match up with them. The only issue that I have with the Titans women's right now is that our points differential is at 13. So you go and have a look at the Knights, who are in second. Their points differential is 39. Roosters' points differential is at 38. Tigers' points differential is at 32. And then you get us at plus 13. So, yeah, I loved the game. I loved what we were able to do getting into that second half. We came back strong away from home. It was, obviously we played the Broncos the week beforehand, and that was away from home, but still in southeast Queensland. We travelled down there to Sydney, not a doubleheader or anything like that, just an individual women's game. And guess what? We came with the chocolate. So, yeah, I love it.
And to be completely transparent, when our Titans NRLW side entered the competition, naturally I cared and was interested in watching the games. But I sort of found myself when we won, I was like, all right, awesome. And when we lost, I was kind of like, okay, that sucks. Right now, at this moment, I've never been more invested in the women's game and the Titans NRLW side. Dare I say, maybe even more than the men's side, because I'm starting to get those premierships.
I will just jump in here on that one. I think that obviously with the fact that the men's competition right now is we are in a position where we can't really focus on that. I do think that obviously, you know, we are going to be dragged towards that the women's side who are killing it right now. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that this is a really exciting game right now. And I think that it's actually beneficial with what you're saying. It's beneficial because if the men's team was doing so well right now and the women's team was doing well, it would be great for the public perception. However, everyone would focus on the men's. But because the men's team isn't doing as well right now and the women's team is doing so greatly, it is giving us that care factor so that we get into the game right now and then we prolong it so that we do have both the men and the women's in regards to our genuine care. So I actually think in a weird way, it's beneficial the men's are doing poorly right now for the growth of the women's game and for people like yourself, myself, and the general fans to actually find that care factor in it. And that's exactly what it's doing.
Certainly. And it's not me taking a shot at our men's side. Just to be clear to our listeners, it's just the nature of where the NRL season is at compared to the NRLW, where one is not only alive for the premiership, I'd have to think we're up there as favourites. I've got to admit, when we did score in the 45th minute, we were still down at that stage. But because it was a forward through Shaylee Ben, I started to think, all right, here comes my prediction, where I thought we'd really roll them, particularly in that last 20. But we didn't score again until the 68th minute, keeping in mind NRLW games are 70-minute games. So we were really forced to wait in this one. Where I was most pleased was our 81% completion. That's a stat that we were a little bit critical of in the first week, and we thought we needed to improve, and we have improved every single week. So that's just brilliant to see. When I went through the stats and had a closer look at this, the Sharks, and I'm like 100% no GST on this, absolutely genuine, they were better in every single statistic area. Every single stat they beat us in that you want to. But the one thing that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, not to be corny or cheesy or anything, is heart and effort. And our girls certainly did have that. They had it last week against the Broncos. They had it in round one. And with this win, as you said, we moved to first on the ladder, which is just really, really special, isn't it?
To be fair as well, though, like we had 6 offloads to their 0, which is a real big positive there. So we are looking to get the ball out. And the only, like literally out of all runs, all run meters, post-contact meters, line breaks, tackle breaks, average set distance, and kick return meters, you're right. There's only one that we won. There's only one stat there that we won, and that was the post-contact meters with 582. But they had 580, so we only won that stat by 2 extra post-contact meters. So it just goes to show we had 47% possession. You know, we had about 3 minutes less time in possession than them. We had the exact same completion rate, but overall, you know, the only thing that we beat them on in the game, there's 2 things. It was the post-contact meters, but offloads and the score. Like that's it. So it just shows that the Sharks have the quality. We need to face adversity. It's a good positive sign. We are top of the table. We haven't lost a game yet. And although there are still, you know, little concerns about, you know, how to win the games, the fact of the matter is that we won the game. So yeah, very happy with the performance. And our defensive effective tackle percentage was 90.62%. So yeah, and we made 309 tackles. So yeah, really happy with the performance.
Maybe no GST on my stats there, but maybe a FIFA 23 career mode 2% sell on for anyone that plays FIFA. No, anyone else probably thinks I'm an idiot. Let's jump into our NRLW 3-2-1s. My 3 points, and I know who you're going to say, because she's broken the NRLW record. It previously sat at 51 tackles by Fuimaono Taliah when she was at the Parramatta Eels. Put a line through it, baby. Georgia Hale, 56 tackles for 0 missed. How good is that in 70 minutes? Georgia Hale made 56 tackles for 0 missed in a game that we won, as well as 119 meters. Now, that is so special because typically when you see players break these records, they're in a horrible losing effort. Cameron McInnes example in the NRL with the Panthers there. We weren't. And so Georgia Hale gets my 4 points. Stuff it. 4 points to Georgia Hale this week, mate. Your chance to tell us your 3, even though we already know what's coming.
If anyone else is at home, or not if anyone else is at home, obviously people are listening, but for the people listening at home, please do count our 3-2-1s as well if you have a notepad around so that we can, figure it out by the end of the season. But I do think we all know who's going to be getting at the end of the season with performances like this, and it is going to Georgia Hale. I gave her as my preseason MVP selection. I spoke about this last week. I spoke about it this week. I'll speak about it every week. She is an absolute baller, man. The amount of tackles she made. Last week, we were talking about Georgia Hale being one off breaking the tackle. I think it was 51 tackles and she got 50. Last week, she was like one off breaking this tackle record, and she's gone and done it this week and shattered it too. She shattered it. So she didn't make a tackle per minute, but it's close enough, with 70 minutes throughout the game. So yeah, I thought she was absolutely phenomenal. She made a bucket load of meters too, and as you said, did that defensive effort in a win, which proves that she is a diehard for this team, man. She will just throw herself at the line for this team, and I'm really excited to see what Georgia Hale is going to do. I really genuinely believe she is actually underrated in the Dally M count. I think that she should be getting a few more points. I know that Avanya Pelletier is currently at the top of the Dally M count, but Georgia Hale, she needs to get quite a few more points there because she is absolutely unbelievable. For my 2 points, I'm actually going to go to Riley Jorgensen. I really think and I really love the effort. I love the effort from Riley. She comes in, she throws her body at the line. Everything about her, she changes games based off of the way she throws herself into the tackles and makes those big hits. It's all about the commitment, man. It's all about how she goes about what she does. And, she was a debutante last week. You wouldn't even think it. And you wouldn't even think this was her second game this week. Everything about what Riley does is what we want to see here for this women's team. And I was really, really impressed. So, yes, I'm going to be going with Riley Jorgensen.
And before I give my 2 points, if I can just go back to Georgia Hale for one moment for our listeners. She is averaging 52 tackles this year. The second place average tackles is Samaima Taufa, who we spoke of previously holding the record at 37. So she is averaging, I'm not too good at math here, but if I can figure it out, about 15 more tackles than any other player in this competition. There you go. And we go back to the Dally M. It's really interesting because when we gave our picks for our MVP, I gave Pelletier, you gave Georgia Hale. She currently sits on 5 points, Evania at 9 points. But I mean, I probably think Hale's even been better if I'm absolutely honest there. So it'd be really interesting. I think one of us is going to get our prediction right. Absolutely. 2 points, Jessica Elliston. And I'm going to give my 2 points to Jessica Elliston. Was super close between her and Shannon Marto. They are a great 1-2 punch as our starting forwards there. 13 hit-ups for Jess, equal most of anyone on our side, and 150 meters, 67 of those post-contact. Also love Jess's effort in defense there with 25 tackles and 0 missed. I'll give my 1 point just because it is the same as your 2 points. I went with Riley Jorgensen, 23 tackles, missed 2 tackles, but I don't care because her commitment to her defense, her first contact was brilliant, and I thought it really helped shift the momentum of this game into our favor. Who gets your 1 point?
Yeah, man, you made a good point there with Jess, and I gave her a couple of points last week in regards to Jessica Elliston's story. Honestly, yeah, she is a baller as well, and that's my favourite word of the day right now, baller, and we just have plenty of them. We have plenty of ballers. You go and have a look who's not even going to get my point here, but she nearly deserves it. Avanya Pelletier with 192 for the most run meters. She was incredible. I actually loved Haley J. Allman-Maunsell coming back into the team as well, getting that game-winning try. I thought that she did a good job in her return. But I do have to give it to Jessica Elliston. I do have to give it to her just because simply she is a big game changer in regards to when you need a play, she will be there, and she's got such a big body that can break through the line. And I think that our forward pack is really, I know that our backline's good, but our forward pack is where we're going to win games this year. And as we've seen, 3-2-1s, both of us have gone for all the forward pack, and most weeks we're looking at the forward pack, to be completely honest with you. We have, for me, the best forward pack in the business. Although there are other big teams around, we have the best forward pack. Georgia Hale, Jessica Elliston, Shannon Marto, absolutely phenomenal there. Riley Jorgensen off the bench. We just have so much talent there. Shaylee Bent also. Shaylee got a try in this game. We can't even forget to mention her. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing this team grind out games, but also having the talent in that back line that will get the job done. So I'll give it to Jessica Elliston, but shout out Pelletier for that 192 most run meters. Shaylee Bent for having a great game as well. And yeah, I'm just really happy right now, yeah.
Yeah, Polite tough to miss out there. She is averaging 193 meters this year, which is sixth in the NRLW. An insane game from her as well. So definitely an honourable mention. The official 3-2-1 Dally M votes. 3 points went to Georgia Hale and Taylor Preston, the Sharks halfback. 2 points to Riley Jorgensen and Emma Tonegado. And Holly Wheeler and Lauren Brown picked up 1 point each. So a few Titans in there being Hale.
Just to question that for a second, just to throw a question at that, do they get so they're doing, no matter the result, both teams will get a 3-2-1?
Well, that's what I'm just trying to figure out now, and I don't think so, because in some other games I can see Isabel Kelly got 5 points and Taryn Aiken got 5 points, both from the Roosters. I think it just strangely worked out that way. But it does, I guess,
it was only a 2-point victory. It was only a 2-point victory. The only thing that separated this game from a win and a loss for both teams was a try in the last 2 minutes by Haley. So, yeah, I can see why. I can see why.
It was definitely as tight as you like and kept me on the edge of my seat until we got that very, very late try. So, yeah, wrap it up, girls. Keep it going. We are so happy with this at the moment. And let's jump into our preview for our NRLW. We are against the Knights Sunday at 1:50 p.m. McDonald Jones Stadium. Personally, I'm so excited for this challenge, and I don't think our NRLW season could be going any more perfect. We are 3-0. We're the only undefeated side, and what looms next is the reigning premiers in the Newcastle Knights that have kept a large bulk of their premiership winning side together. Now, I just want to, I can't help but cast my mind forward to the message we send to the competition if we win this game. Not only would be 4-0 undefeated, we would now have a win over the current premiers as well. I think in terms of betting markets, in terms of fan interest, we would absolutely shoot 2 NRLW favourites. I want to get your thoughts on whether you agree with that and your thoughts on this game.
So fun fact for you, we're actually currently, via the odds that I can see here on the NRL.com website, we're actually second favourites right now. There's a really heavy market favourite in the Sydney Roosters, which we all knew was going to be the case. We're second favourite with 7-1, and then you've got the Knights at 8-1 alongside teams like the Tigers, who have really rocketed in, who are 850, and the Broncos at 850, and the Sharkies at 9. Everyone else is getting pretty much out there with the Raiders, Dragons, Cowboys, Eels, and the likes, right? So, yeah, we actually were, coming into this season, I thought we were one of the favourites. We actually weren't. We were like 5th or 6th, like 5th favourites, right? But I could tell. I could see the team list, and I knew we were going to really put something together. And now we've gone from like 15s to 7. It's ridiculous. We've really come in, and we are second favourites, as I said. And I just can't wait to play the Roosters. And I believe we play the Roosters at a doubleheader at Seabus, which is awesome. Might be against the Panthers next week, or the Titans Bulldogs at the end of the season. We do get to play the Roosters there. So yeah, that's gonna be a really, really good game to be able to go there and watch. And we also play Tigers in a doubleheader as well. But yeah, this is a big game, man, in Newcastle as well. You know, is it a doubleheader? Like, is it a doubleheader? Can you check for me right now if the Knights are playing on the same day afterwards? But yeah, look, I think that this is going to be a big battle here between the forwards. You know, they've got some really, really top-tier talent as well. Yasmin Clydesdale, Hannah Southwell is brilliant. Jessie Southwell has all the celebrations around her. Tamika Upton, you know, multiple premiership winner with the Broncos. Also, obviously, won the premiership with the Knights last year. They did get gutted for talent across the off-season with the, Roosters coming calling and a few others. But overall,
Boyle, the biggest.
Yeah, Millie Ball, the biggest, right? So, yeah, look, they've got a really good team here, the Knights, but I just think that our 4-pack wins again. I really do. Shannon Martel and Jessica Elliston against Rayma Butler and Simone Kapani. I give it to our girls, Olivia Higgins and Lauren Brown. I think Lauren Brown's one of the more underrated players in the game. Falila Kia and Yasmin Clydesdale versus Shaylee Bent and Zara Canfield. Again, I know I still give it to Zara Canfield and Shaylee Bent. And then Georgia Hale and Hannah Southwell. Southwell's great, but Georgia Hale is currently breaking records, defensively crazy, and is just such a great leader. So I honestly believe we win in the forwards department again. I really do. And then we've got Emily Bass coming back into the team. We've got Jamie Chapman coming back in the team with Niall Williams-Guthrie as a following centre. Peliti versus Upton. You can't get a better fullback battle than that. You know, some people will say Upton's a better fullback. Some people will say Peliti's a better fullback. So there's so much good battles here. I believe we win the forwards, and I believe we win the game.
Yeah, Upton versus Pelite looms as, possibly the premier fullbacks in the women's game right now. And, they both play in the same Queensland side there where Polite plays at centre. But I think that's just due to her versatility. And I do believe if Upton could play centre, I think that would be reversed. People always laugh when they see me regarding the show and the podcast. Some of our listeners saying I'm always searching in the background whilst we're talking. I've done that again. Call me co-host / producer. It is a double header. The Knights play the Bulldogs following the NRLW clash.
Okay, yeah.
I look at their roster. I think their strength is their halves. They've got the English international 5'8" in Georgia Roach there, and the reigning rookie of the year in Jessie Southwell, who's still a teenager, but we know how impressive she is. They're probably the premier.
Wasn't she put on a great step in that game that they had against, was it the Eels? Oh, man, that step was unbelievable.
And I believe she's a background either Rugby Sevens or Rugby Union. Either way, the footwork there, you can tell she's been a part of professional systems for majority of her teenage years there. I have to admit, I think they do have a real edge over us in the halves in terms of experience and probably class there as well. But what I love is the blueprint we're playing with. We keep it so simple because our forwards are so powerful that once they win the middle, we keep rolling that momentum. As we've seen in the Sharks and the Broncos game, eventually it might take extra time. It might come in the last minute. We are able to get the win. But for this one, I don't think we can leave it so late. I think we really need to go into halftime with a lead here. We need to have a really, really strong half. Where it gets easier for us, their rep forward, Caitlin Johnston, NRL Indigenous All-Star, New South Wales Blues player, is out suspended. So the same blueprint that's been working will be played through the middle so powerfully. I think if we can follow that, our halves can keep doing what they're doing and giving our outside backs the opportunities and kicking really well on last. We will be getting our 4th win in a row. My official prediction is Titans 1-12. Your official prediction on this one,
Come back
please.
into the 1-12.
I have, yeah, I've had to.
Yeah, look, I'm going us 1-12 as well. I think that, especially with this being away from home, I think this is the second premier matchup. I do think that obviously everyone does still look at the Roosters for their real premier matchup, which I believe might be what we have next week. But, the girls can't be looking towards that. Us as fans can be looking towards that, but they can't be. I'm going to go 1-12, man. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I do think maybe not as low as 10-8, but I think maybe like a 14-12, 16-14. I think that it's really going to have, because there's just so much star talent on both these sides. So I'll go 1-12 there. Kind of girls, 4 from 4. That'll be a massive statement if we go 4 from 4.
4 from 4, absolutely. We beat the Knights, as you said. We then go into a home game against the Roosters in round 5, which of course we'll preview next week and keep it NRLW related to start our show because our girls are all the hype at the moment. But yeah, can you just imagine if we get 4 from 4 here against the Knights, against the reigning premiers, and the premiership
drums there, baby. Don't you worry. The drums will be getting right into it. If the Roosters, whoever the Roosters kicker is, God help your soul. God help your soul, because when you come to Seabus next week, you're going to be hearing it. You're going to be feeling it in your soul as you're kicking. So don't you worry. Then we'll be going for 5 for 5. We'll talk about that next week.
Absolutely love it. We'll jump into our NRL recap in just one moment, but something that's just sprung to my mind. We beat the Cowboys NRL side. We then beat them in the NRLW. We beat the Broncos NRL side. We then beat them in the NRLW. Our girls just beat the Sharks NRLW, and we're going to beat the Sharks NRL side. I don't want to get too scientific on the podcast, but certainly if you look at the quantum physics involved in such, then nothing else makes sense.
Fan. When that's the science involved, I'm a big science fan. I'm Bill Nye the science guy at this point, mate. So please give us more science.
And we will be conducting more Big Bang theories and research following the podcast, of course. Before we get to that, we've got to recap our loss to the Warriors, 28-18. And you know what? I'm going to start with this. I'm honestly not fussed. I'm not even angry. I'm not even disappointed. I'm not even upset. We lost the game. So what? The reason why I don't care is the amount of effort that our side put in. I truly believe with that effort and without a rubbish send-off decision, we win 9.5 times out of 10 against any side. The only side that beats us when we have that much effort is the Penrith Panthers. They're just a class above everybody. We beat every other team in this competition with that effort, and I don't want to hear otherwise. We beat the Broncos with effort. We've beat the Storm this year with effort. They are the other top 4 sides. We would have beaten the Warriors with our effort if not for a rubbish send-off. And I'm just so excited for the future. The top 4 sides right now, the Panthers are so far ahead. Let's put them in a whole different planet right now. So we look at the remaining top 4 sides, Broncos, Storm, Warriors. We've got wins over 2 of them, and we bloody well should have had a third win, meaning we would have beaten 3 of the top 4 sides this year. I thought the send-off was absolutely rubbish. I've got a theory as to why it's occurred, but I'll go to you first to give your thoughts on the game.
I don't see this as a loss. I know that, like, for Warriors fans, we had plenty of Warriors fans watching the podcast last week. For Warriors fans, you deserve the win. Like, take the win, whatever. Like, this isn't for you. This chat room isn't here for you. But, we do appreciate you listening in, right? For me, this wasn't a loss because I genuinely do believe, like you just said, if we have 13 on 13, we win that game. You can't be down to, 13 on 12 for 63 minutes and be at 18-18 with 7 minutes or 6 minutes to go against a top 4 Warriors team who also still have not beat a Broncos, have not beat a Storm, have not beat a Rabbitohs, have not beat a Panthers, right? They're in the top 4, but still concerns around them. But you can't be 63 minutes against them with a man down, with a whole crowd against you. Mind you don't care as a Seabus. It obviously wasn't our home game. And to be down 18-6 as well within the first 4 minutes of the second half. So I think it was even 2 minutes into the second half when they did score there. So I think it was Toll Harris maybe. But the point of the matter is that I have never been more proud. I'm so excited for the future of this club. I thought the first thing I was thinking at the game, I was copping it from Warriors fans and blah, 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 blah. The first thing in my mind was, I'm proud. Like, they're giving me shit. And it's like, for me, I'm not actually affected by anything anyone's saying at all. Like, you can yell at me from everywhere, but I'm thinking I'm proud. That was the most proud performance I have seen from the club. I honestly, out of any performance in the history of our club, I would go as far to say that was the most proud because regardless of the loss, we gave it to one of the better teams in the competition, right? And we honestly could have won that game. We honestly could have won that game if we weren't just for being extremely tired of being a man down for 63 minutes. So, yeah, look, I think that the officiating in this game was very controversial for both levels. I don't believe Niokore should have been binned either, but at least that's just a bin. That's not sending off for the entirety of the game. That's not... a lot of Warriors fans, and the issue here with Warriors fans are really the only ones actually saying, it's a legit send-off. And that's because they watch rugby union. And they're actually mixing up the rules here because the rules are extremely different. Now, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of it all, but the fact of the matter is that if you actually go and look at the tackle, that's not a send-off. Like, that is a sin bin at max. And I'll say that as that. I'll sin bin at max. But overall, I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff. I'm just going to say, I know Desi. The first thing I thought of was Desi Hasler is going to kill it with his team. He's going to crush it with his team. I think Jimmy Lenihan has proven that he's absolutely going to be alongside Desi. I think they coach very similarly. I'm loving it. I think we've got a good team going forward. Desi will come in and work his magic, but a Desi special. And, this proves that we have got a good team going forward.
Let me be clear to any Warriors fans that might be listening and interested in our recap here. The reason why we're so proud of our side is because you guys are a great side this year. You do sit in the top 4, and this is the best the Warriors have possibly looked since like 2011, potentially, where they made the grand final. And so we do, give respect and props to you for getting the win there, and we don't hold any ill will. It sounds like we both agree.
There's a lot of respect. Actually, just to clarify, there is a lot of respect between these two clubs because of the fact that we both know how it feels to be down in the dumps, and the Warriors have been down the dumps quite a bit as well. And this is a gripe that I have, and sorry for interrupting you, but this is a gripe that I have with a lot of people, is that when I talk about stuff like that and say, oh, listen, the Warriors still haven't beaten the Panthers, Broncos, Storm, Rabbitohs kind of deal.
They're facts.
They're facts, and although you may not like what I'm saying, you probably don't like what I'm saying is because you probably don't like the fact that I'm laying there for people to see. So I'm not saying that I don't like the Warriors, because I actually do. I want to see you guys do well. I want to see you guys crush it. You're a very similar team to us. With that being said, you should have done better in this game.
And we understand Warriors fans because, take away the Dolphins, they don't really count. We're the only two sides that are yet to win a premiership together. So as you said, we know, we ride the highs and the lows, but we've certainly ridden a few more lows together as fan bases for our respective clubs. That being said, let me get to the send-off. There's been one other send-off this year. It was Jacob Saifidi in round 2, where he took the absolute head off a Tigers player with a vicious coat hanger that quite literally belonged at WrestleMania. And he got 5 matches for that, and rightfully so. Fodawaker got 1 match. And how did we get to this point? Because the night before, Nathan Brown was sent off, and I thought that was rubbish as well. And you often see these chain reactions in the NRL where something happens one game, such as a hip drop, next game it's the same. And the referees say, oh, we weren't instructed to do anything different. I don't particularly buy that based on that evidence. But what was the major breaking story on Channel 9's biggest show, 60 Minutes this week? It was the Wally Lewis, I've got CTE diagnosis. So naturally, the sport thinks, okay, there's more eyes on our product this week. What are we doing to combat head injuries? It's not a coincidence. One of the biggest stars that is completely recognizable past the game of rugby league into a wider Australian audience says, I've got CTE. And 2 matches later, Moeaki Fotuaika is sent off with an incident that has been a sin bin for the entirety of this year. I don't know. Maybe I've got a tinfoil hat on. I need to take it off, but exactly. I just think that's...
Yeah, but it's just like, and just to go at that as well and say, you know, you're right, because you go and have a look at the Jerome Luai one, and like he's left the ground, his shoulder is contacted the head, and they with force, that they said there wasn't enough force or whatnot, but the fact of the matter is that, you know, and I hate doing this, right, because Warriors fans are going to come at me and say, oh no, like there was intent. It's like, listen, I know Mo personally. I know who that man is. And if you think that man had any kind of intent behind that tackle, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. He is extremely humble. He is a great bloke and he absolutely loves his team. It was unfortunate. Absolutely. But you can't blame that for the result, unfortunately, because you go and actually have a look at it. I don't even really want to get into it because I just know it really frustrates me in the inconsistencies, and it really frustrates me in regards to, you know, Warriors fans. You're happy each and every single week to complain about refereeing calls against you, and you're really happy each and every week to pick nitty gritty about certain things and that you're being robbed, right? But then when it comes up against you, you go extremely technicality-wise to say there is intent there, or you utilise rugby union rules inside the rugby league, and you go and say, well, no, that is a send-off, but it's like nothing else has ever been a send-off in regards to that before. It's usually just a sin bin. So, you know, you've got to pick your battles, man, and just this situation really frustrates me because I've seen so many people coming out and saying that Mo is intended to do this. And I know for a fact that Mo Fotuaika had no intent to hurt anybody else in that situation. It was completely unfortunate, and it was a bin at max.
And I hate when the referees use the word intent. It's such a buzzword. What does it mean? Because you look it up in the dictionary, it's very open-ended. And when you say a player has left the line with intent, absolutely. Why would you not try to make a tackle with intent in a professional sport that's a physical game? Of course there's intent. There's intent in everything you do on a football field. I think it's rubbish. I think the key difference between the Jerome Luai situation and the Moeaki Fotuaika situation is the fact Charles Nicoll-Klokstad stayed down. And I would hate to say it, but I think I'm right that the NRL referees officiate based on the injury and not the actual circumstances that lead to that.
Yeah, because
and there's a lot of evidence for it.
Yeah, well, Graham Annesley came out and said there's been no conversations, and he said, and I quote, what was it? Happy to be a liar, happy to be called a liar for this, but we've not had any conversations about this, and there's not been any crackdown. Well, okay, I will go out there and say that I am questioning.
If you're happy to be called
it. Yeah, well, to be fair, he's happy to be called it, but I'm very much questioning it because, you know, until this moment, we had one send-off, which was early in the year, and that was a very blatant one. You had a questionable one for Nathan Brown. You had a questionable send-off then for Mo Fotuaika. You even sent off a trainer, and you've got the lack of one for Luai, but it goes back to the same thing that everyone complains about. Why is Penrith always so protected? So, you know, and I don't really buy into that kind of stuff, but I also do buy into the storyline factor of rugby league and the fact that it is a low-grade WWE in a sense, and I've spoken about this before. But yeah, I question that. I question the way that they come out and go against the fans. I question that they are so stout and devout in defending the decision, but yet then you'll go and see like some really, really romper stomper one. It frustrates me, man. I'm frustrated because I truly believe we win that game with 13-13. And I know Warriors fans will disagree with me, but I truly believe that we win that game.
Look, let's tie it up because I'm sure everyone's just as frustrated as we are listening. I was actually at dinner with Mo's manager when the Rabbitohs and Sharks game was going on. And when Tom Burgess got sin binned for something that is now getting 3 weeks on the sideline for, I'm not sure if I can say how he felt, but I know I definitely disagreed with it. And I do agree with you. We win that game if Mo stays on the field because the effort was just so great. And I am disappointed with that decision. I'll tie up this game in just a moment, but I know you did interview Moeaki post-game, so let's insert that here for our listeners.
I'm here with the big fella, Moeaki Fotuaika. Mate, that was a tough one. Obviously, you did get sent off, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, but what are your thoughts on the situation?
Yeah, it was a tough one. I couldn't really do much because he was like sort of running across, and I didn't have any intent to hit him with any aggression. I just had my arms down low, but I wasn't leaning in from my shoulders. So yeah, it was just a bit tough because he kind of crouched down and came in with his head first. So I hope he's recovering well.
I tell you what, besides that, I'm proud of that effort. I think that despite the loss, we had 12 men on the field for 63 minutes. And we go up against third place with a whole Warriors crowd here. I thought that was one of the most impressive performances I've seen from the boys.
Yeah, for sure. Can't complain about the effort. All the boys done really good considering 12 men for the whole game, and just thought the effort from the boys, just really showed out there. It took the Warriors 70 minutes to see it win.
Yeah, exciting, man. I'm excited next year, bro. It's about
Nice little insight there from Fuimaono. To tie this one up, Blaze, I was stoked with our 86% completion rate. I think the completion rate becomes so important when you're a man down. And then only 41 tackles missed is actually really good playing over an hour with 12 men. A lot of sides would not be able to defend like that. And even when we were missing tackles, the effort was there from everyone else to keep scrambling and keep making these tackles. So I was really, really proud there. And look, ultimately, the Warriors are a third on the ladder right now. They're expected to finish top 4. They only beat us by 10, and we had 12 men for an hour. So I am really, really proud of that effort. And that was
in the last 6 minutes.
Exactly right. We were in this one for majority of that contest. And I know a man that would have loved it, like you said. Des Hazard would be absolutely licking his lips at that effort. Absolutely. And, in Des Hazard fashion, that's the sort of effort that rips doors off their hinges. And I love it. And I love that effort from our boys. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's jump into our 3-2-1s. 3 points from yourself, please.
I've got to give it to JC. There's no way you can go anywhere besides JC here. He was electric. It was electric, and he just, besides the try, that was one of the most hyped tries that I've experienced at Seabus in a very long time. To have that send-off, to be down by that 18-6, to score that try before, I think it was Stimo, and then to get that JC one. Oh my goodness me. Truly, that was just crazy. Because for me, that was on my sideline. I looked down, I'm thinking the Warriors are going to score if they keep going left. If they kept going left there, they played their advantage for the Warriors fans out there who are questioning other knock-on. They played their advantage, don't worry. We found out about that in Canberra. But they were going down the left-hand side. And then if they actually had gone, they would have scored. But they didn't. They cut back in right. And then JC, buddy, see you later, got that one. Look, the meters he made, had a try assist as well. He is our spark right now, man. He really is our spark. He made 258 running meters. And he's made 300 at one stage this year as well. This kid is absolutely phenomenal. He loves this club. He dies this club. He's everything about this club. JC, absolutely 3 for me.
Yeah, Campbell probably is the most famous surname associated with the Titans throughout our history as well. Look, I didn't give a 3 points in the NRLW. I gave a 4 points, and I'm going to have to do that again here. Jaden Campbell is my 4 points. He becomes the first Titans player to make me pass out. I'm not even kidding. Look, I'm not. Maybe I added a bit of GST on the Titans NRLW stats before. I'm not here, guys. I saw them going left through Jackson Ford, and no, and I started to clench up because I could feel the try coming. When Jaden got the intercept, I jumped off the couch so quick and was just screaming, "Go, go, go!" that my legs went from underneath me, and I just felt lightheaded all of a sudden and fell backwards onto the couch. And then my friend looked at me, he's like, "You all right?" And I was like, "No, I think I just passed out." So Jaden Campbell gets my 4 points.
Bro, I get that every week. Just to quickly jump in, to me, every week. Even the Loffy no try, that was insane in the stadium, man. That was insane. I'm not taking away from JC's situation here, but I know the feeling you're talking about because I've got the drums there, I've got the crowd around me, I've got the vlogging camera I'm thinking about, I'm also invested in the game, it's just so much going on, and I'm doing a chant, man, I nearly pass out every single week, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll never forget the feeling. I've passed out only 2 other times in my life, and they were not football related, so I'll never forget that, Jaden. That was one of the best moments of my weekend, one of the best moments this year. That was so fun to watch you streak away and get that. My 2 points goes to the NRL's most in-form utility at the moment, and that's Chris Randall. 117 meters, 4 tackle breaks, and 46 tackles for 1 miss. I think there are a lot of great utilities in the NRL that can play a lot of different positions, but if we're talking in form right here, right now, most improved player for the Titans this year as well, it is Chrissy Randall, and he gets my 2 points. Who have you got for your 2 points?
It has to go to Chrissy Randall as well. I love this bloke.
Love it.
I just do. I just love this bloke, and I remember having this conversation with him at the members' night. We spoke for quite a bit of time, and it was quite emotional because he was just saying how much he just really wants to play footy. He just wants to play footy for, first grade and start the team and whatnot. And he's done that. He's got into the team, and he is one of our best players right now. People don't recognise this, but he is one of our best players right now. You've got Tino, you've got Fozza, you've got Mo, you've got Dave and JC and whatnot. But Chris Randall deserves a lot more of the respect because, man, the tackles that he makes, the post-contact meters, just everything that he brings to this club is just so gritty, so defined, and is a tackle bot, and I love it. He's not known as just a tackle bot anymore. He is so much more. So, yeah, the utility factor here from Chrissy Randall is absolutely fantastic. And then to go to the 1 point, I'm going to go a little bit askew here. I don't think this is what you're going to go with, so I'm actually going to go different. And I'm going to say I loved what Tanner did. Tanner Boyd as my 1 point. I thought that, obviously, we all didn't want to see him get injured. Like, when he got injured, I was really praying, man. It was hurting me, actually, to see him down. But he came back, he crushed it. He had 56 run meters there, but, the kick returns, he had kick return meters, post-contact meters. What was the thing I was looking at before? Sorry. 26 tackles made. The only issue was that he missed a few tackles. But with that being said, do remember that he got injured throughout that game and then missed a few tackles after that. But just everything that he did and the little runs that he's making now, the little runs. We've always been claiming and saying we need to see you go for a bit of a run rather than just pass it or kick it. And that little scoot that he broke through and then did get injured from it. But the little scoot is what we need to see in his game, and I think that he is coming leaps and bounds. And again, do I need to say it? Do I need to say it? Tanner Boyd does not miss. He does not miss. Tanner Boyd doesn't miss. He got every kick. So, JC obviously got a kick as well. But the fact of the matter is that Tanner Boyd doesn't miss. I love what he did in this game. I think he's coming leaps and bounds in regards to what he can provide this club. And I'm thinking that Desi's going to absolutely kill it with him at the 7.
Yeah, I absolutely love that pick for Tanner Boyd there. I went very close to him. I'll give him an honourable mention. My 1 point goes to Dave Fafita. The scary thing for this one was it actually wasn't Dave's best game, but he still had that try that kept us in us. He still gave us 7 tackle breaks and 140 plus meters in a great attacking display. And again, it's one of those games. Without Dave, we're probably not in it just because he is our X factor with Jaden Campbell. He's our forward X factor there. So I give him a 1 point to Dave. Let's go around the grounds. If you're new to our podcast, Around the Grounds is where we go through the HostPlus Queensland Cup and review how our feeder clubs went for the weekend. Next year, we will be hopefully doing this with our Titans reserve grade side. I'll cover the Seagulls to kick us off. They lose to the Northern Pride 34-24. So Pride do go back-to-back over our feeders, having beat the Bears last round. We remain in 7th. The Pride moved to 8th behind us on 4 and against. So we do need to finish the year strong as the Seagulls, or we do risk falling out of the 8 there. How did our Titans players go? Tremaine Spry, 1 try, 5 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, and 128 meters. I feel like Spry's always had these consistent stats throughout the Q Cup year, putting his hand up there as an option if we have some injuries out wide. Tommy Weaver had a try, assist, and 2 tackle breaks. Joseph Vuna scored a try. He had 59 meters from 6 runs and 17 tackles. Cruz Leeming. Now, I'm sure this is the one most people are interested in as he is coming back into our NRL side this week. 15 scoots for 119 meters, 5 tackle breaks, 1 try assist, and 30 tackles for only 1 miss. So a really great game there by Cruz as well. Over to you. How did our Bears go this round, and how did our Titans players go?
My goodness me. How did our Bears go this round? We slapped it, mate. The Burleigh Bears, we absolutely slapped. We won 35-6 against the winner Manly Seagulls. You can't complain about that because that was 2nd versus 3rd, and whoever won that game was pretty much going to be getting 2nd for the season because there's not many games left. And just before I get into our boys, I do have to say, South Logan Magpies lost by 2 points to the East Tigers, the Brisbane Tigers. So that means that draw last week actually does help us out a little bit because our point differential there doesn't really matter because we're a little bit about 40 below the South Logan Magpies. We're only 1 point short of them. And they play winner Manly Seagulls this week. The South Logan Magpies, they play winner Manly. So the whole minor premiership is up for grabs again. The Bears, they are absolutely slumming it down. Now, we'll go quickly here through the game so I can give you guys a bit of a wrap of the ladder. But Jacob Alec, he scored a try. We've got to love that. Big Jacob Alec, obviously, we saw him a little bit before. We loved him in that game against, I think it was the Dolphins. So, yeah, really good to see him do that. 223 running meters there for Tony Francis. And yeah, I thought that this was a really good game here for our Bears. Not a great deal of our Titans affiliates have really played a great deal. Kenny Mamalo only played 33 minutes, so something must have happened there. And one of our X5'8s, Tyron Roberts, obviously was cracking on. But yeah, Jacob Alec obviously scored that try. And I'm really happy with how the team went, because that really puts us into it. He also ran for 119 meters there, had a heap of post-contact meters. I just want to quickly have a look at how many tackles he's made here. Well, his tackle efficiency was at 96% through 24 tackles. And then compared to Francis, obviously, yeah, he was having a great game as well. So the Bears absolutely killed it. They put themselves locked up into that second spot realistically. Actually, well, to be fair, to get into the ladder here, the Brisbane Tigers now jump the winner Manly Seagulls with that win. So because that was all four teams, the top four, they were playing each other. Brisbane Tigers beat Magpies, which puts them into third. Which now means that the Bears have to worry about them. However, if the Magpies lose, the Bears this week go up against the Mackay Cutters, who sit down there in 14th. They have only won, I think, 2 games this season, whilst the Bears are sitting at 13 wins. So yeah, really good stuff there for the Bears, and just got to hope winner Manly Seagulls can really be feeling that hurt from the Bears game and get the win against Magpies. And then guess what? We win the minor premiership. Going down there for Tweed, though. Tweed, with their result, they're in 7th position on 24 alongside the Northern Pride. Tweed have a plus 99 points differential to the Northern Pride's minus 83. But Sunshine Coast Falcons, obviously, we saw a little bit of little elemental Bumpy Ryan Pappenhausen this week, and they're only 1 point short. So the Tweedhead Seagulls, they play the Jets. Now, that is a great game for them, because the Jets have not won a single game this year. They have not won a single game through 19 played. So that is a huge one there for the Seagulls right at the back end of the season that can lock them up into that top 8. And then obviously they're probably looking towards playing the Dolphins in the in Redcliffe in the one of their opening games of the finals. So yeah, a lot going on there, but the Bears flying, baby. Flying.
Absolutely. And I've just looked up while you were speaking there. The eligibility to play finals for Queensland Cup is having played 5 games for the year. So we do have quite a lot of Titans players, even like Cleese Haas, Jacob Arlick, who are close or in our NRL side, that will be eligible once, the NRL season finishes. If we don't make finals, they can go back there and play in reserve grade for us as well. Our current injury list, we've got AJ Brimson ribs, round 25. Jojo Fafita, round 25, also with his ankle injury. Fotu Aker is suspended until round 25. And Bo Firma is continuing his rehab from an ACL injury. Let's jump into our team list review, Blaze. Here's the key changes. Tino returns for the suspended Moeki Fotuaika. Jimmy Jolliffe is back from his hand injury. Brimson is still out, with Jaden Campbell remaining at fullback. Chris Randall moves to hooker. That's because Sam Verrills is unavailable, as we said earlier, and Cruz Leeming therefore comes in at 14. Keanu Kinney, though, does retain that position on the bench. I'll jump into my changes, I think, for this. I'd like to see Chris Randall start at hooker, but I do think after 20 minutes, I'd like to see Leeming come on and Chris just go to that floating role he has at the moment in the middle. I think that suits him more. I'd probably look to move Jimmy Jolliffe to the bench for Isaac Liu. I just think Jimmy has a bit more punch from the bench, which we will need against a powerful Sharkies pack. And Keanu Kinney, I probably would be dropping him out of our lineup for Jacob Arlick. I think we probably just need a little bit more muscle on that bench, as opposed to spark at the moment. What sort of changes do you look at when you see our team list this round?
Yeah, I love Keanu. I really do appreciate him, and I think that he's going to be a great start, but he's just coming into the team at a really unfortunate time where we do have JC and AJ and whatnot, and we've got pretty much every other spot that he could look at locked up as well. So yeah, personally, I would have preferred just to have seen Jacob Arlick there, but I know that when he comes on, he can absolutely kill it. I agree with you. I think that Jimmy Jolliffe off the bench would be absolutely brilliant there. Isaac Liu had a great defensive game, actually, for the Titans against the Wires. So would have loved to have seen Isaac Liu starting with Jimmy, obviously coming back from injury. We've got a brand new forward pack again. A brand new forward pack there with Tino and Jimmy. So look, it's we've got a couple of our players back, but we also did lose a couple of our players. And Look, obviously this is now our full, forward pack. We're missing Mo. We are still missing Bowie Firma. We're missing Sammy Verrills now. It's a tough pill to swallow, but the fact of the matter is that I still believe in this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we can get the job done as well. Let's jump into our preview. We're against the Sharkies at PointsBet Stadium, Friday, 6 p.m. At this stage, I'll be at the game, and Blaze will be there. He's at all of our games this year. And I'm really excited for this one. I think with having Tino and Joel back, they are two really key inclusions that we probably haven't factored in the last few weeks as much as we should have. Sharks are coming off an impressive display in Perth. They snapped their 3-game losing streak, but I've got to be honest. I thought as good as they were in that game, what contributed to that win for them was the Bunnies being so poor. And I don't want to discredit the Sharks. They got the win, but I also think the Bunnies did not offer anywhere near enough to trouble them in that one. And they do lead the NRL for errors at 10 per game. So there is a pathway to victory here for us. I think that's through controlling the middle and completing our sets, which we did really, really good last round, considering we were down to 12 for the majority of it. The last time we beat the Sharkies was 2017, so they definitely have got the better of us in recent games, but I'm still feeling confident in this one. How do you see this one, and what do you think some of our keys to victory are?
I think our keys to victory is just going to be able to, lock down Nicho Hynes. Hynes loves, and with all due respect to Hynes, I think he's a brilliant player, man, but he does love to take on these bottom 8 sides and put them to the sword. So I think for us, we've really got to look to making sure that he just can't play his free-flowing game like he did against the Rabbitohs, who obviously they're the only top 8 team that's actually below the Sharkies, which is funny. So everyone talks about how the Sharks can't beat top 8 teams. Well, they just did, but that team is still below them, and they're in 7th, so that tells you quite a bit there. Look, this Sharks team has a lot of talent, man. They really do. Like, you look at the strike power of Monotalo, who does make mistakes, though. Sione Katoa, Jesse Ramey, and Siosifa Talakai. Nicho Hynes, Trindle can do a good job too. Obviously they're missing Will Kennedy for Con Tracy, who provides a little bit of spark, but also not as good as Kennedy, in my personal opinion. And then you compare that with JC. I got JC winning that fullback battle. And the wingers of Phil Sami and Alofiana Khan-Pereira, I don't think is that much of a loss comparatively. I would actually say that I think the form of our wingers is better than the form of the Monotalo and Katoa duo there. So I actually give our winger battle to us. The centre battle, though, of Jesse Ramey and Talakita, Shuppy, and Brian Kelly, I do give that battle to the Sharkies. And then in regards to the halves, I think Nicho Hynes really trumps all, but I am confident that Tanner Boyd and Kieran Foran do obviously trump over Braden Trindle. So, but I do still think the Sharkies there. So in regards to backline, I think that it's pretty even besides the severity of what Nicho Hynes can produce. And then in regards to the forwards, I've never thought the Sharkies are actually that impressive in the forwards ever since 2016. When they won the comp, they were a great forward pack. But nowadays, it's not the same team. I'm not that scared of Hamlin-Uele, Toby Rudolph, Britt Nakora, Wade Graham, Cameron McInnes. McInnes is a tackle bot, as we saw. He's not really an attacking kind of threat. Wade Graham, he's a bit older now, experienced but older. Britt Nakora, probably the most similar player to David Fafita you're going to get across the competition, but I do give Dave that battle. Toby Rudolph and Hamlin-Uele against Jimmy Jolliffe and Tino, I give that front row battle to us. In regards to the nines, I do like Blake Brayley, and I think that Randall's a good utility. So, look, Cameron McInnes probably does win the battle with Aaron Clark, but Aaron's got a better attack on him, and the back rowers, I do think that the combination of Britt Nakora and Wade Graham probably outdo the combination of Fafita and Stimo, but I think we've got a great chance here. So for me, I would probably look at, it would have to be a 1 or 12er, but if we give that same effort that we saw against the Warriors, I could see us doing a surprise there at Shark Park, who we used to have a 50-50 record against, but obviously in recent years, we've been struggling, so it's gone away from us.
I'm really confident we're going to win. I'm just going to the team list like you did then. I do think if Jacob Arlott comes onto this bench, we're a better side forward. It just gives us another X-factor option. And Connor Tracy at fullback, with respect to Cody Walker and Lachlan Ilias, they're not really the sort of halves that are going to test you as the fullback with positional kicks and high balls. Tanner Boyd is. Tanner Boyd has one of the best boots in the game, in my opinion. Really, when you look at his season, he's only had one poor game with the boot. It was all the way back in round 2, and it was at Nostrada Jubilee against the Dragons. Apart from that, he's been brilliant with the boot. And I think he can really test Connor Tracy, who is not a noted fullback at all. It's a really important game for the Sharks in terms of their final hopes, where their season's at. So I go to the question, can the Sharks handle pressure? No, they can't. Look at the finals last year. They dropped out in back-to-back losses this year. Look at their record this year. They've got 2 wins over top 8 sides. I believe it's the Eels and the Rabbitohs. So they have a remarkable record against these bottom 8 sides. That's what's got them into the finals. So then the next question, or the follow-on question is, are we a bottom 8 side? Yes, the ladder says we are. But you know what? I do not view us in that category. I don't view us in the same category as the teams that are around us in the bottom 8 on our best day. And I'm not saying we're going to rock up and win this easily, but I know that if we're at our best or close to it, I know we can win this.
Well, I want to throw something out here for you. I want to throw a bit of a fishing line out there. A couple of weeks ago, they played Manly at Shark Park. Manly were up 30-0. I know the Sharkies came back, and they probably should have won that game if Kennedy passes it. But you know, it's not undoable. They're a bottom 8 team, Manly. We beat Manly, thank you very much, and they were up 30-0 against this Sharks team at Shark Park. So they're not unbeatable, mate. They're not unbeatable.
They're not. And where I know the Sharks kind of got the Rabbitohs at their worst last round, the Rabbitohs this year against top 4 competition are conceding 14 points. You take out that one big loss they had to the Broncos, and it's 12 points. And then the Sharkies scored 26, more than double on them. So they did get the Rabbitohs as a good time there. Prior to that, you go to the last 3 weeks, the Sharkies did not look like scoring against the Warriors. They didn't look like scoring against Manly until the final 10 minutes, and they didn't score at all against the Panthers. All I'm saying is, I know we are big underdogs in this, but maybe I'm being optimistic, but surely I'm putting together enough evidence for other Titans fans to believe we are in this. Let me go one more. Raiders, Dolphins, Eels, Warriors. We won't say Rob, but we can all acknowledge we were unlucky in 4 of those games this year. If you, all right, one of us will say Rob. If you give us 2 of those wins, let's just give us 2. Let's go down the middle. We are 1 win behind the Sharkies on the ladder. And I know that if we were 1 win behind the ladder, this betting markets would be a lot closer. And so I just think if you tie everything I've just said together there, if you need to scroll back and listen again, I am really confident we win this. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I will be having a play on us this game as well, absolutely. And I do think we can win this. I'm not fussed that we're a bottom 8 side because I believe we are better than that. And when you tie it all together, I am going to tip us 1-12. Still respect the Sharks and knowing that they need to play at home to keep their season alive. So I won't say we're going to come out and roll over the top of them. I don't think we will. But I'm going to tip us 1-12 in this one. And I think Alofiana Khan-Pereira is going to score a double. That's my predictions. What predictions have you got for the game for us?
I'm going 1-12. I'm saying, you know what? Tanner doesn't miss another conversion because guess what? He doesn't miss. And I reckon we're going to surprise him. I'm going to give us the win by 4 points. I'm going to go like a 18-14 kind of deal. And you know what? I'm going to say first try scorer is going to be the Foz. I'm going to go Foz. I reckon he's going to surprise, and Foz is going to be first try scorer. So there's some good odds for you.
Mate, I like it. And Foz has been backing up on the inside from Fafita passes. Khan-Pereira kicks this year. Not the worst prediction there at all, and no doubt a bit of value about it. So yeah, both of us are going our Titans to win. And to any of our listeners, believe we can win this game, and I think we will. Let's jump into our Q&A section. If you are wanting to ask a question for this section, the best place to do it is via the Gold Coast Titans Frontline Podcast Facebook group. No, that's a mouthful, but if you go on Facebook and you search Gold Coast Titans Frontline Podcast, the group will pop up as the top search. Request to join there. Jump on in. It's not just podcast related. We also talk all things Titans in the group. Hopefully we can see you there. Our first question comes from Emilio De Savage. Now, he is a Bulldogs fan, and he says, with how well Sexton is going at the Mighty Bulldogs, do you regret letting him go? I'm going to say no, but I'll go to you to give your answer first, because I know you were a lot closer to Toby than I am.
Yeah, look, obviously, I know Emilio as well. He's a big Doggies fan down there, a bit of woof. But look, no. In regards to Tobes, I love the bloke. I really do. He's actually been on the Gold Coast during their bye weekend this weekend. But no, I don't. I think that it was time for Tobes to go elsewhere and try his talent out, with a team that really needed him, and needed him only individually. We had Tan, we had Tobes, also Tommy Weaver there. I think that it was time that where it wasn't working out for him here. I want nothing but the best for him, and I think he's been killing for the Dogs, because fun fact for you, when Toby Sexton has played a full 80 minutes for the Dogs, They have not lost a game so far this season, so which has only been 2 games. But point of the matter is that, and I do think if he plays the full game against the Bronx, they do lose that game at Belmore. But not the point. He is 80 minutes, has not lost a game for the Dogs this year. So, yeah, look, I love it for him. I'm very, very happy for him. You know, I wish I wanted nothing more than him to succeed on the Gold Coast. But no, I think he needed to go, and I don't have any regrets about it, no.
Let me say this. I appreciate everything Toby did whilst he was in a Titans jersey, and I love watching him play every week, but he's not a Titan anymore. The decision has been made. So no, I don't regret us letting go of Toby. I'm very happy with his current form and happy to see him performing for the Bulldogs. But I just think at the moment with Tanner playing so well, we can't have regrets there. And there was also indicated via a Sydney Morning Herald report that Ben Hunt kind of only agreed to the Dragons to sort of put all this on the back burner because he was sick of the media headlines, and he said to privately approach them for another release where we are favourites to sign him. Even before Sexton was rumoured to be on the outer, I was saying on some other shows that I'm on, he should sign with the Dragons.
So although I think that, you know, this isn't me saying this is like for the club, if we're so interested in going for Ben Hunt, I don't understand why we didn't offer Toby Sexton a deal, you know, with some money as well, to, you know, potentially lure Benny Hunt, give the Dragons some happiness there. They get a nice little 7. And I think that could have been the play because we were going to get rid of him anyway. So, yeah, a little bit confusing there, but in the same sense, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You know, I trust in Ezra to know what's best for our club, and you know, that's our recruitment manager and whatnot. But yeah, look, all love for Tobes, but you know, I think Tanner's really coming into his own with our club.
Toby, respect what you did, but we are first and foremost always going to have people that wear this jersey's back, and at the moment that is Tanner, and we believe in him absolutely. Our next question comes from Swim Rutkin, and they said, name all of our current players you can see being a part of a premiership winning side. That's a tough one to answer here live off the top of my head. I'm really happy with the current 17 we've had for a lot of this year. And really the only key change I could see to that could win us a premiership in the short term would be including Ben Hunt, who was a 300-game NRL veteran captain there, into our lineup at some stage. Outside of that, I feel like our squad is young enough and talented enough with the players we've got to win as it currently is. And so the only other way I could answer that would be to go through and say players I don't think should be here. I'm not going to do that because I respect all our players too much. But I'll go to you. Do you have a certain way you'd like to answer that question?
Yeah, and, you know, just to preface this as well, like, obviously, you know, we're going to be honest here on this podcast and whatnot, but we're also not going to disrespect these boys. Like, we know these boys, and also they're our team. You know, we don't want to disrespect them anyway. So we're not going to come out and say, oh, this person shouldn't be here, blah, 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 unless they give us a genuine reason to. But, like, none of our boys have. But, like, look, obviously, I you know, agree with a lot of what Clarkey said here. I think that, you know, you go into it, and look, Desi's going to come in, and he's going to change his team up a little bit. He's going to give it his own spice. You know, we've got 2 players. We're on 28 right now. We haven't got the 30. So, obviously, a bit of Desi special will be coming in for next year. He has been working alongside Jimmy Lenihan. He has been working alongside the club. You know, I think Loffy can be an absolute star, you know, to point out his name. You know, I think JC is the fullback. You throw AJ as the centre. I think that's a great little combo there. I do genuinely believe in what Tanner Boyd can produce into the future. I think that in the short term, as what Clarkey said, Ben Hunt and Kieran Foran could be an absolutely fantastic combination. But in the same sense, I don't know if we win the premiership next year, but I think we can make massive inroads to the premiership because teams need years realistically in the finals before you can really guarantee them in. Obviously, I'm going to be there regardless, but, you know, yeah, I love what Tanner can do. Obviously, Kieran is getting older. His body is getting a lot more frail, and Kieran's not going to be disrespected by me saying this. He sees me there every week. I see him every week wobbling after a game, you know. It just is the takes of how rugby league is. So we do need to look towards that 5'8" position. But, you know, our 4-pack absolutely can win a comp. Uninjured, Mo Fodawaker, Sam Verrills, Tina Fa'asuamaleaui, David Fafita, Bowie Firma, Aaron Clark. You've got Jamin Jolliffe off the bench. You've even got Cleese Haas off the bench. You know, you've got even guys like Jay Malik. I genuinely believe we have a great team here. So, yeah, like, you go through it all, and I really believe in this team. And I didn't even mention Chris Randall because Sam Verrills our starter, but Chris Randall off the bench. You know, I love it. I really do love it. So I don't think we're as far off as people imagine. And I think a Desi special is going to be getting a nice little fried rice come up here, and I'm going to love it.
And we had another question that kind of ties into the same discussion we're having right now. So I think it's a good place to continue. Lee Anderson said, name our top 18 for next year and where you think they should play. Just having a look through, our only 2024 signing so far is Keenan Policia from the Broncos, who is a really cool guy. I actually did a camp with him for the Gold Coast Academy back in the day. So I've known him since we were like, I think before at the time. Really, really cool guy. And I was really happy when I found out he was coming to our club. Our 2024 losses are Aaron Booth, Patrick Herbert, Cruz Leeming, Ben Liu, Sam McIntyre, Thomas McKaylee, and Toby Sexton. I look at that list and there's no one there that I'm desperately thinking, damn it, we should have kept him. Like, it's not a Jack White and Rabbitoh situation where you're really upset they're gone, I suppose. Now, this is where I'm so impressed. These are the players we've re-signed. Jaden Campbell, Dave Fafita, Jamin Jolliffe, Brian Kelly, Alofiana Khan-Pereira, Chris Randall, Philip Sammy, and Sam Verrills, all until the end of 2026. Now, I think that presents an issue in the future because they're all going to be coming off contract at the same time. But for now, that is 3 seasons. We have the core of our squad together. Our only 2 players off contract at this stage, Blazer, Tony Francis and Joseph Vuna. And so when we talk about our best team for next year and who plays where and all that, and what do we need to do win a premiership, I don't think we need to make big changes. I'm really happy with the core group. The club is as well. They've re-signed them. And I don't necessarily think we'll be competing for that premiership next year.
I was just being modest before, mate. Get into them. We're going to win the premiership next year, mate. It's going to be so
I'll lock us in for finals next year. I'll lock us in for finals. We're top 8 next year. Yeah, you agree?
That lock out. I want you to put that locker there, and I want you to take the key, and I want you to throw it down bloody Tweed River. All right, that's how much we're confident we're making the finals next year. And I'm not even joking. Throw it down the river and don't even look at it, because I genuinely believe that we are making the finals next year, and I think that we will be a competitor, especially with Desi at the helm. All aboard the Desi train, baby.
Another factor for next year as well is we'll have our own reserve grade side. So these players like Arlick this year and Keanu Kinney and Cleese Haas that's been in reserve grade at times, they're all going to be playing for the Titans with Titans. And so I just think it's next year is going to be amazing. I can't wait already. Let's jump into our final question for the show. It comes from Toby, and his username is Thick Man Toby. So Toby, I don't know what's going on there, but
out there, man.
Send us through your best protein shake creatine combination. He says, thoughts on Payne Haas most likely leaving the club? I wouldn't say most likely yet. There are some rumors that he might be looking to join the Storm and some of these other clubs. But in terms of linking Payne Haas to our club, is there anything you see that really jumps out at you? I know his brother is with us. Is there anything else?
Look, he obviously originally was from our area. You know, there's photos of him when he was like 16 years old with a Titans shirt on. But I don't know. I know that we probably could put a reduced offer in to keep him with his brother and also in the local area if he wanted to come here. But in the same sense, you know, that's a ridiculous forward pack, mind you. Tina Fasumalawi and also Payne Haas with off the bench, Jimmy Jolliffe and also Mo Fotuaika. Like, that's getting ridiculous at that point. It's getting ridiculous. I don't see it happening personally. But his brother is here. You know, it is just down an hour down the road. Maybe Renault goes from the Broncos. He's an old man now, so maybe not be able to convincingly lead the Broncos around enough. So he's like, you know what? I want to leave the Bronx. I want to go to the Glitter Strip. I want to go to the beaches. I don't want, South Bank. Who wants to go to South Bank when you can go
Fake
to
beach.
Burleigh? You know, exactly right.
Fake beach for a fake club.
Exactly right. So, I don't think it happens, but we can all have a bit of fun with it. I can tag, I did actually tag him. I'm not going to say what was said, but I did actually tag him on my Instagram with a photo of it, saying welcome to the club, Payne, with him in that old photo of him in the Titans shirt. But yeah, look, obviously we can all hope maybe that happens, but I really have significant doubt that it would happen.
My thoughts, the only way I could see it happening, I don't necessarily think we need Haas. It would probably stack our forward pack a little bit too unevenly with how we need to manage our spines and outside back players. But the only way I see it happening is if he has a fallout with the Broncos where they really do not come to the negotiation table for him. I think that's unlikely. If that does happen, I think we would see him either sign with the Bulldogs, where he's close to Davida Pengai Jr. and Sonny Bill Williams, who's involved with the club. I'd then say the Dolphins would be next favourite to remain in the area. The only way I think we factor in is if all three of those don't happen, and we'd be the fourth club. And I think that'd be, I need to say this carefully, to do with his family situation with his mother at the moment, if he needed to stay in the local area. We won't touch on that any further, but I think that's probably the only way we do get paid to the club. Yeah, it would be nice to dream, though. He is an elite front rower, and it'd be very cool to see him and his brother lining up for us every week. Tino, Mo, what a forward pack that would be. But that is all we've got time for on this show. We want to say thank you very much to every Titans fan who's been here with us. Believe this week against the Sharkies, guys. We can do this. We will do this. Get behind our club. We've got a strong finish to the year and even more exciting things for the future. So from myself, thank you very much for your viewership or listenership, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. With that said, over to you, Blaze, to say goodbye to our listeners.
Fire up, baby. Fire up, son. I want to see it. I want to hear it. Everyone get up and around it. I know our season is most likely over, but it's not over. You know, let's still really crack on behind this team. Let's get behind this women's team. Their season's absolutely not over. They are top of the table right now. We need to really fire up behind this community. Supporters, obviously Sharkies game early on Friday, but then we have the Panthers, which is a tough one at home. There's going to be a lot of bandwagoners there, don't you worry. So we're going to need you guys to completely get out there and full on support this team. You know, this is where the true fans are seen. You're going to easily see thousands and thousands, 26,000, 27,000 crowds at Seabus when we're winning. But be there when we're down this area and look around. Take a look around and see who is there when we're struggling. Who is there when we're in these down moments. Because I can tell you right now, next year, we are going up. I'm not doubting it at all. I'm so confident in this team going forward. So fire up. We appreciate you guys. Hopefully see a few down there at Sharky Park. It's selling out, so get down there now to a ticket. Listen, if I want some soup this weekend, I'm going to be having some shark fin soup, Clarkey. Yeah. That's what I'm going to be doing. Nice little.
And did you hear what happened to the the Sharks 2023 season?
Here we go.
Mate, it vanished into thin air.
God, no, that's it.